So, if these things that I'm going to talk about in this video are starting to happen to you, you're way closer to profitability than you think. I have all my notes here in my phone, and I'm going to go over why exactly traders quit right at these 7 things. Right before you're about to become profitable, these 7 things are going to happen, and only the smart traders, the ones who will make it past their first year, are going to continue their journey when they see these things. The people who are going to fail are going to quit as soon as you see they start seeing these things. So it's not because you're a bad trader, it's just because this stage feels really, really uncomfortable and it's really new and it's really different. But if I'm telling you that if you just keep going through these 7 things, eventually there is profitability at the end of that rainbow. So the first thing I want to walk you through, well, I'm going to walk you through the 7, but the first thing I want to walk you through is going to be trading starts to get boring. Um, yeah, so let me look at these notes that I have. Essentially, if trading starts to feel boring, then you're finally doing less, not more. So if you've ever heard a person on the internet and they say, oh, the more money you make, the easier it is, or the more you make money, the less you'll work, or the less you work, the more you make. If you've heard any of that, because I heard that before I became a profitable day trader, and I really was basing my whole life off of that, but I never knew what it meant in the context of trading, right? So I heard it in business sense, in entrepreneurship sense, maybe even in a job sense, but like even in like a general lifestyle, life advice sense. But none of them actually made sense to trading because none of them were directly related to trading. So when I became a day trader, I had to take what I had learned, and then now I'm like, okay, how does this apply to trading? When people say the least you work, the more you make, what does that mean in application to what I specifically do? And the thing that I learned is that the less you do, the more you make. It's not about becoming a better trader. It's about being more comfortable with the boring. And if that's already something you've heard, I promise to like that you just stay for a few seconds. I'm gonna promise you, I'm probably gonna say it or explain it in a way that you haven't heard before. Um, because honestly, even the Bible talks about it. If you ever use money to entertain yourself, as in like you're gambling it or lottery or um, sports betting or anything that's particularly not skill based, that is called entertaining yourself with money. And when you're doing those same ideologies, but in the actual stock market where you need skill to survive, you need skill to swim and live another day, you start entertain like if you're entertaining yourself in this arena, that's gambling. And so the only reason you feel like you have to entertain yourself and that you kind of just let go of your skill. We've all done that where we have all this skill, all this knowledge, all this experience, but we will literally like throw it away like we don't even remember it. Or we will literally take trades we know we're not supposed to, but we still do it. It's all from the root of wanting to entertain ourselves. And that is literally gambling. So when you start to understand that your profitability is only ever going to come, like the most probability you can have, or should I say the next level of profitability you have, is going to come from how bored you can get. Then you actually start to chase the boredom and you stop chasing the entertainment. So when you're chasing every single candle, you're chasing every single trade. Every time your candle hits your take profit, but it pushes $2 more, you always hold it the whole time. You're not really trying to use your skill in those moments, and you know that it doesn't work. You absolutely have already proven to yourself that it doesn't work unless you use your skill, your technical skill, your fundamental skills, your ability to read charts, read candlestick, right? To be able to do those things. And when you're allowing yourself to be entertained by the market, that's when you're not remembering it's supposed to be boring. Okay, the difference of being entertained and being bored, like those are literally opposites. So if you're entertaining yourself by gambling, by just entering stuff, by just throwing money in, which is called full porting, FULLPORTING, full porting, throwing all your money into something. When you're doing that, or you're just acting like, you know, you don't remember what your skill is, you don't remember what your edge is, etc. That's when you've totally gone to the other side of the spectrum. You've totally given up the side of reality where your skill and the boringness and repeatability of trading is what actually produces profitability. So that's really what I see with both sides, is that when you don't understand this first part, that when you start to see the entertainment happen, you start to see yourself like place ridiculous trades. You start to see yourself give back profit you know you shouldn't give back. When you start to see yourself do those things, that is literally a literal sign, like a big sign in front of you that is verbatim telling you, hey, you don't want to be bored. Profitability comes from boredom. So when you start to see you start to see yourself entertain yourself through the market. You're using the market to entertain yourself. You're only doing that because you were bored. So if you were already bored, that means you were already on the edge of being profitable. I hope this is making sense and is coming to a full circle. Okay? You would only be entertaining yourself if you felt like you weren't entertained. Okay? You were already not entertained because it was boring for you, which means you were following your rules, you were following your setup, you were showing up doing the same thing every single day, you were following your strategy, you were following all the things, and it got boring and it got repeatable. And so you started to entertain yourself, and you think, oh man, I'm entertaining myself, I should close my account. I'm acting like a fool, I should close my account. I should stop what I'm doing. Maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. Maybe this whole thing is just gambling and there is no skill involved, right? Without recognizing that if you were some way before and then you start to entertain yourself, the thing that you were before was just boring. So don't be the person who's a beginner who starts to feel, oh my gosh, I'm entertaining myself. And you start to see those signs of that impulse behavior and that bad behavior, whatever. Right? You start to see all that. Don't take that as a sign that that's who you are. Take it as a sign as that's who you're not. Because guess what? If you were that person that was irresponsible, you didn't have skill, you didn't know what you're doing, the difference would be now you feel like it's boring, right? Okay. So whatever you are currently in your current state is literally a sign of what you were in the past. So if right now I feel like entertaining myself, that means that before I felt this way, I had to have been something else, which means I was boring. I was doing the right thing. And now I feel like I'm entertaining myself. That's not who I am. That's who I became as a result of not understanding that I was where I was supposed to be and I didn't stay there. So your job is not to see this entertainment side of you come out and see all this stuff you're playing around, whatever. It's not to stop trading. It's to stop the entertainment to go back to what you were doing, which is why journaling is so important. You have to journal. If you're not journaling, what's going to happen is that when you become the person who's entertaining themselves, right? You don't know how to get back to where you were just at because you were just doing it boring. That was a phase that was boring. You didn't feel like doing it. You didn't realize what phase you were in. You didn't realize you were cracking the code and stepping over that golden line. And so now you became the entertainment person. You wanted to entertain yourself with trades. And if I'm telling you, hey, if you're now feeling that way, excuse me, that means you weren't that in the past, right? So what I'm telling you is that if you don't journal, when you want to go back and look at who you were in the previous weeks, you won't have the information to copy. Now, let's say it's a practical example. It's been 1 month. I've been trading for 1 month, right? First 2 weeks were great. Last 2 weeks, I was just taking terrible trades. If I journaled that entire month, at the end of the month, what part should I go back and look at? I should go back and look at the first 2 weeks and see what I was doing differently. I would go see what I was doing right, and I would go do that again. So if you're in the stage of your journey where you have never journaled anything, then when you get to that point, like one of the first of the 7 signs, when you get to feeling like it's not boring anymore, then you're not going to know where to go back to. You're not going to know. So now you're stuck having to finish out that entertainment phase, recalibrate your whole entire strategy to put you back on track. And hopefully this time you start to actually track what you're doing, track what you're being like. You have your whole document of like your trades. Now, if you don't know how to track your trades, I have a free link down below that you can sign up for. And you can track all your trades and get all your analytics. And you can use that. If you have previous data, you can sync up your trades and then just use that app. It'll sync all of it together and show you all of it if you have not been journaling it or analyzing your trades before. But the best thing for me that I ever did is when trading got boring, I said, stop. I'm supposed to be here. I'm making a lot. It's boring. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I stopped and I wrote down what I was doing and I stayed there and I practiced to stay there to reinforce these good habits. That's what I did. So, like I said, the opposite of boring is being entertained. Entertainment loses you money. You place dumb trades. Being boring means that you are literally doing what you're supposed to do. It's repeatable. It's annoying. It's like, oh, this isn't fun. But one thing I love that Dan Henry says is you make money and then you spend the money to entertain yourself. You do not entertain yourself with the money. So if trading is boring and trading is lame and trading is repeatable and sit by a computer for an hour a day, right? To you, to me, it's fun. But let's just say you're here, right? It's fun to me now, right? Boring becomes fun when you start to do this, what I'm about to say. So you start to have, this boring trading, whatever, but you're making money. Then you start to say, I have a bright idea. I'm going to go out to eat more. I'm going to buy more clothes. I'm going to go travel. I'm going to go see my friends in different states. I'm going to go do blah, 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 blah. And that's where you entertain yourself. You entertain yourself with those things and those hobbies. Right. So it's not about doing something different. It's about going back to where you already were. Because if you were profitable, even if it was just like a week's time, you need to remember what you did during that week and repeat that. And unfortunately, I've had months that were 100% green. 4 weeks, 5 trades a day. 5 trades a week, right? Some weeks, some months have 5 trading weeks, but we're not going to get to the math. Let's just say 20 trading days, green, every day, across the board. I've had that. Do I have that data? No. I only have screenshots and like some journaling, some videos that I recorded of my live trades back then. But as far as like what I was thinking, what I was doing, who I was being, like actual journaling, I don't have it. I only have the data. I don't have the feelings and who I was and what I was being, but it was really boring. But I didn't know back then that that's the key. So I had to go through some entertainment, go through to find my profitability, and then I did that, and I I like kept it to myself. Now I share it on the internet, but that's what I did. Okay, I hope that made sense. So number one was trading starts to feel boring. That's what you're gonna hit right before you hit profitability. And when you start to feel that entertainment, don't let that entertainment stop you. Keep going through that while like implementing all the stuff that was boring. And and the entertainment stuff will melt away. You'll keep doing the stuff that's boring and you'll compound your money. You'll be fine. Second thing, um, this is actually one of the biggest psychological shifts. So one of the things that's going to really hurt you is when you feel like the market owes you money. Unfortunately, we've all been there. But when the market owes you money, or when you feel like it owes you money, it's going to show you that it absolutely will steal every cent that you have out of your pocket. Your trading account will be on zero. All right. So I need you to remember that when you, why is my live not working? Hold on, guys. I'm checking my technical difficulties. Okay. So, anyways, this is a big psychological shift. And what happens here is that when you think the market owes you money, it's going to steal every single cent and then it's going to laugh in your face. And when you finally decide, you know what, I don't even need money today, I don't even need money tomorrow or the next day, I don't really care. You know, it might not have a setup for 2 weeks. Hey, it's fine, right? That's when you start to care more about how you trade than how much you make. And when you don't care about how much you make, you're more patient. And when you're more patient, you make more profits. Simple. So when you're okay with closing your laptop if you're green, if you took no trades, if you're in the red, if you made some money but you gave it back on purpose, you made some money, gave it back on accident, which hurts even more. As long as you followed your plan, that is what you care about. It's just following your plan. That is when you start to make a lot more money. It's when you're on the edge of being profitable. But you have to not care about the market owing you money. The only way you don't care is by getting all your money stole a few good times. There's not really much that can save you from, there's not really much that can save you from getting your money took besides learning how to not get your money took. And the only way to not get your money took is to get it took and to keep trying. So that's just something you have to go through. But when you're going through that, everything I just described, that is when you're going to start making a lot of money because you don't care what the market does. Number three, your losses get smaller. This is literally by asking yourself one question: how much money am I willing to lose? And if I lose all this money, will I be okay? It's a two-part question. It's risk management, right? But it's a two-part question because if you tell yourself how much, or you ask yourself, how much money am I willing to lose? Everybody's going to say, oh, 200, 300, a million, a billion. But when you ask the second part and you say, well, if I actually did lose all of this, would I be okay? Now the number shrunk. Now you're like, oh, maybe 50 bucks. Maybe 1 cent, actually. Because when you think about what you can risk, you think about how much you can get in reward. But when you actually think about if you actually did lose it, you don't care about the reward as much. You care about the potential loss. So when you ask yourself those two questions, you start to have your risk management 10% of your account size. So if you have $1,000, you buy one contract at $100, at least 2 or 3 days out, as much as you can. And you do that over and over and over, just like that. Number four, you're gonna trade less and make more because you're gonna stop taking trades that don't make sense. This one's pretty self-explanatory, but if you were to make the same trades all month, but you just took away all the losses, you would leave with more money. You didn't make more money at all. You just left with more because you stopped losing so much. So that's one of the bigger things is that you need to get so okay with trading less. Like if you mentally know, if I just lose less and I stay the same trader, literally who cares? You'll make more money by stepping away. And seven is you don't put your future self in jeopardy for today's opportunity, because then you're trying to basically say that every single day may or may not have an opportunity, and that you want to capitalize on today's opportunity for the fact that tomorrow may or may not have one. What you're doing is living in the future. If tomorrow has one or not, you can't do anything about that. So don't risk too much today trying to make up for the potential no trade tomorrow. Doesn't make sense. Size appropriately, respect your rules. Every single day is its own trade. And if there's nothing tomorrow, that's tomorrow's problem. We're not worried about tomorrow. Okay. So if you're seeing these 7 different shifts in your trading, bro, don't rush it. Just keep going through it. They're gonna pass, and you're gonna be profitable. The stage is very difficult, uncomfortable, and fragile, and people are gonna sabotage it. Like, not people sabotaging you. I mean, you sabotaging yourself. So everything I broke down in this life, step by step, it's in